Let me ask you something. You have probably hit some of the goals you set for yourself. Maybe you got a job, built a career, checked the boxes that you thought would make you feel settled, successful, done. But here you are, and there is this quiet feeling. Not loud enough to be a crisis, but too persistent to ignore that something doesn't quite fit anymore. Like you're wearing a suit that was tailored for someone younger, a version of you that had different priorities, different ideas about what mattered. If that resonates with you, you are in the right place, because what you're feeling isn't a problem, it's actually a signal. And in this video, we are going to start making sense of it. Here is something nobody talks about. Most of the goals we chase in our 20s and 30s, they weren't really ours. I don't mean that in a harsh way. I just mean that when you're young, you build your direction from the materials available to you. What your parents valued, what your industry rewarded, what your culture told you success looked like. And that's not a failure of character. That's just how it works. You absorbed the blueprint around you and you ran with it. But here is the thing about borrowed goals. They have a shelf life. At some point, usually somewhere in your 40s, the blueprint stops fitting. Not because you failed, often because you succeeded. You did the thing, and now you're standing on the other side of thinking, okay, you did the thing, and now you're standing on the other side of it thinking, okay, what was that for? There's actually a term for this in psychology. Some researchers call it the achievement trap. The experience of reaching a goal and feeling an unexpected emptiness rather than fulfillment. Because the goal was never really connected to what you actually value. It was connected to what you thought you were supposed to value. And that distinction matters enormously. Because if you try to fix this feeling by simply chasing the next external milestone, the next title, the next house, the next number in the bank account, you just end up in the same place, except older and more tired. The work isn't to do more, it's to figure out what actually fits. So why does this tend to happen in your 40s? A few things are happening at once. First, you have got enough life behind you to actually see patterns. You know what's drained you and what's lit you up. You have data. Real data, not theory. Second, there is a shift in time horizon. When you're 25, the future feels infinite. You can try things, fail, and try again. But in your 40s, there is a growing awareness that time is finite. That's not morbid. It's actually clarifying. It makes you ask harder questions about how you want to spend it. And third, a lot of the external pressures that used to drown out your own voice start to quiet down. The proving phase starts to wind down. You care a little less about what people think, and in that quieter space, your own values start to surface. Maybe for the first time. The psychologist Carl Jung called this the second half of life. And he believed it was actually the more important half, not in terms of achievement, but in terms of becoming who you actually are. Not reinvention for its own sake, not blowing up your life and starting over, but getting honest, maybe for the first time in a long time, about what actually drives you, what you want your days to feel like, what contribution you want to make. That's purpose, and it is available to you right now at this exact stage of your life. I want to come back to that feeling we talked about at the start, that quiet restlessness, that sense that something doesn't fit. Here is how most people respond to it. They get busy, they fill the calendar, they push through, because stopping to feel it seems dangerous. Like if you acknowledge it, you might have to do something about it. And doing something about it feels overwhelming. Or they dismiss it. They tell themselves, I've got a good life. I shouldn't feel this way. What do I have to complain about? And both of those responses make sense, but both of them also keep you stuck. Because here's what the discomfort actually is. It's information. It's your values trying to get your attention. It's the gap between who you have been performing and who you actually are. It's not a warning sign, it's a compass. And the first step, the one we are taking in this video right now, is just to stop dismissing it. To let yourself say, yeah, something feels off, and that's okay. That's data. That's the starting point. You don't have to have the answers yet. You just have to be willing to sit with the question. So here is where we are. The goals you built your life around weren't wrong. They got you here, but they were built for an earlier version of you. One who didn't yet have the perspective, the self-knowledge, or the clarity that you have now. The discomfort you might be feeling isn't a midlife crisis. It's a midlife invitation. An invitation to stop living by a blueprint someone else handed you and start figuring out what actually matters to you. Now, at this stage, with everything you know. In the next video, we are going to start doing exactly that. We are going to do a proper values audit, not the generic list your top 5 values exercise. Something more honest than that. Something that actually surfaces what you care about now. Not what you used to care about or what you think you are supposed to care about. That video is going to be genuinely useful. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a good time. You won't want to miss it. And if any of this landed for you? If something clicked, I'd love to know. Drop it in the comments. What's the goal or the identity that you think you have outgrown? You don't have to have it figured out. Just name it. I'll see you in the next one.